All right, next is Outstanding Offense Award, and this might be obvious if you watched us play, but we couldn't do what we did this season without this girl. I'm glad that she stayed with us on middle school. She had some great offensive plays, of course, some great attacks, which were super fun to watch from the bench, but it also was really neat to see how she grew and stepped up as a leader this year, and we got to watch that. So our Outstanding Offense Award goes to Jasmine Perry. Okay, so now for our first official award. This is the Coaches Award. It's going to a player who had a good attitude. She worked hard. She was one of our best players, and she filled a very specific role for us this season. About halfway through the season, we switched up our rotation, and so we put this girl in a brand new position. And there was a learning curve, but she caught on quickly and did what we needed her to do. She was a great teammate, had a great spirit. She also worked hard on her volleyball skills even outside of practice. I think often on weekends you could find her at a park practicing her volleyball. So our Coaches Award goes to Sophia Bonilla. Okay, and last one. This is our Leadership Award. So this is going to go to a player who doesn't necessarily have this big outspoken personality, if you know her. She may have never really sought out leadership opportunities in the past, but as one of our only 8th graders and one of our only returners from last year's main team, I think that those opportunities, she saw that they were there. And also, on top of all that, I made her a setter this year. And as a setter, there's lots of opportunities for leadership. Ideally, you're getting lots of touches on the ball, getting a touch on it every play, making decisions on what you're going to do next with the play, lots of communicating opportunities, which she did well. And she also was a good teammate. I saw her, take a player under her wing. She helped others on the court. She consistently was communicating in a way that benefited the team. And she just stepped into this new position because she had never been a setter before. So she did all these things with a sweet spirit, and for all those reasons, I wanted to give our Leadership Award to Allie Cheney. Okay. In closing, I just want to let each of you girls know that you are special to this team. I watched them grow in obviously volleyball skills, passing and serving. I watched younger players learn strategy some from the bench and cheer our team on really well. And overall, I think it was a season of growth. So even if we're not spending our afternoons together anymore, I hope you guys know that I'm here for you, and thank you for being a part of this team.
I just wanted to say thank you to the coaches for always being so supportive and giving us so much of their time, their personal time for us this year.
All right, thank you so much. You girls can have a seat. Thank you. All right. Great job to our middle school team. Like it was mentioned, I think they maybe only had 2 or 3 returning players and then only 1 returning starter, I believe. So they had a lot of new players, a lot of growth. The coaches really did a great job. So great season middle school volleyball. All right, next we will have up middle school soccer. So boys, come hit the stage here. And Coach Cottier, it is your turn.
All right, it's just going to be a little low for me. Good evening, everyone. I am Ernie Cottier. I coach the middle school soccer team this season, and we had quite a lot of fun. I have never coached here before, although I've coached in the past, and I don't teach here. So these were 19 guys that I had never met in my life. And then the nice thing is during tryouts, we had some hurricanes come through and cancel practices. So we went into our first game after only a couple practices, which unfortunately led me to saying to a couple kids, hey, I need you to go in, not really knowing their names out there. But they stuck with me, and there was one kid that I did think his name was. I did think I knew his name, and I will not call him out, but I said, hey, I need you to go in left midfield. Right now, I need you to attack the ball. Okay, great, coach, I'm ready to go. By the way, that's not my name. kind of just had to live with it. But they stuck with me here and was able to learn their names throughout the season, obviously. Our verse here for the season was actually 2 verses with James 1. For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. For he beholdeth himself and goeth away, and straightway forget what manner of man he was. If anyone here is an athlete, as I was growing up, you know how easy it can be to get on a field and suddenly lose your mind and get upset in a moment where a ref makes a bad call or a player knocks you over. So that was really the emphasis, to not forget who we are as Christians on the field, and not forget that as soon as we step onto the field of play. So we made sure to emphasize that every time I prayed for the team before the games. And I do want to shout out a couple players also called me out when the time was running low. Coach, we got to make sure we pray before the game. So I really did think that was impressive. We had a great group of young men throughout the season. We started off really well. First game of the season, we got a win. There were some great plays by a lot of players. And as with any season, there were plenty of ups and downs, some more ties, some more losses along the way. But the players really did have great attitudes throughout the season. We had a lot of younger players as well. And we even had one game where we had 3 fifth graders starting. So we were very young out there. But everybody did a great job regardless of their grade. We did have a lot of injuries, though, as well. That's part of the reason we had 3 fifth graders starting and had 19 players on the team, and at one point we had 13 players for a game. So we had plenty of people hurt or missing during the games, but the players did a great job of sticking with it throughout the season. I do also want to shout out Mr. Brondike as well for all he does for getting things set up, whether it be the field or moving us into the gym when it was bad weather conditions, getting bus drivers set up. There's a lot of great things he did to help us go throughout the season, which I'm sure he did for all of the teams as well. I do not have any extra pamphlets or pieces of paper there for extra awards, but I also have some extra awards in my mind as well. I want to shout out our 8th graders on the team. I'll start with MJ here, who's the closest one to me. This kid is one of the most versatile players you could find on the field. He was ready to go anywhere and everywhere. I think the only position I didn't have him start in at some point was goalie, and that's because we had several players ready to go in goalie position. But he was everywhere to go. He was Mr. Versatile on the field, so I really appreciate him being ready to go. And then Caden here, one of our other 8th graders, was the anchor on our defense. He was also one of our team captains. Had some fantastic stops throughout the season. Very much so a great communicator on the field, keeping players in place, which for some players, it was their first year ever playing soccer. So they needed to have that leader on the defensive line, trying to keep them all organized as well. Bradley right behind him. He was definitely one of our biggest leaders on the field and off the field as well. As soon as we'd finish halftime, I'd start talking, Coach, can I add something as well? Coach, we got to do this together. And so he was a great leader, a great scorer, passer. He played anywhere we needed him as well. Lucas is further back in there as well. He did a great job throughout the season. He was also fairly versatile. Very, very rarely ever came out of the game. Only time I remember taking him out was our second to last game of the season, our last regular season game, when he hurt his back, and he later went to the doctor, and it was something more severe, but he was still playing until the very end there. And then Jeremy is not here, but he was one of our leading scorers on the season. He did a great job on the field as well, and always trying to figure out how he could get better on the field too. But yeah, we just had a great group of boys out here. Like I said, 5th grade class was able to step in big time when we needed them, and there's so much potential for the future. I hope to continue coaching them, and we'll be able to see all of that potential continue to grow. But I hope all of you 8th graders continue to play, continue to enjoy soccer, and take the things you learned this year and use them going forward. And now for our official awards here. So first of all, I have the Falcon Award, which is similar to a coach's award. This player was a leader both on and off the field. They very rarely ever left the field. And not only that, as soon as the game was over, it's easy to, after a win or loss, you're running off either excited or disappointed and just leaving the coach behind. But this player always went and picked up cones, helped me carry balls to the shed afterwards. One time he grabbed the cones that the varsity was still using, and I had to have him bring them back, actually. But this award goes to Nolan Vradenberg for the Falcon Award. Now for the Most Improved Award, and there are a lot of players that this could have gone to. I wound up talking to other people that watched games, talking with my wife to try and figure out who this award could go to because there are so many players that improved so greatly. Fifth graders, sixth, seventh, eighth, all the way up. There were some great players here that made some great improvements throughout the season. But this player in particular, I don't believe they got in the first game of the season, but they continued to improve throughout practices and games and even assisted on one of the goals later on in the season and eventually became one of the first players coming off the bench. So this award for Most Improved goes to Mullen Renee. Once again, I want to thank all of the parents and staff here at Friendship for trusting me out there, coaching the team. Like I said, I really enjoyed myself. I had so many people come and thank me for coaching, but I was more thankful to be able to be coaching, and I really enjoyed it and hope to continue coaching in the future. So thank you all for a great season, and thank all of the players for the great season as well.
All right, thank you so much, Coach Cottier and our middle school boys. Do you want to say something? All right, come on.
Thank you, Coach, for the great season. I know you could have done a lot more things with your time, but you invested it in us. Thank you for your patience. Amen.
All right. Thank you, Caden. All right. Next team we'll have up is JV volleyball and Coach Anderson. So if you girls want to go ahead and come up, and we will keep it on moving.
Hello, my name is Taylor Anderson, and I had the privilege of coaching the JV volleyball team this year, along with, with Coach T, who I can't thank enough for everything. The way we structure our practices and our games is we basically do everything with the varsity and JV together. So we practice together, we have some, time sectioned out, of course, but we travel together. So this was my first season coaching as a head coach of any kind. So having Coach T there to help me and give me advice, and Coach Brondike as well was a huge support. So I want to thank them both. And thank you also Miss Beamy. She took our books, all of the bus drivers. I was nervous going into this season because, like I said, I am a newbie. So I was excited, and I was thrilled to be able to grow and learn along with these girls. We have a pretty young team, mostly freshmen. So there was a lot of, like I said, learning together. And I want to thank you all for being such a great group of girls to be my first head coaching position. You had a great spirit, team first attitude, supportive of each other and of me, and I cannot have asked for a better team to start with. Our season, we didn't have a wonderful record, but we did improve a lot from the beginning to the end. I am so proud of everything that you guys accomplished. Thank you to the parents and all the fans who were supportive and cheering and encouraging me. I very much appreciate it. Now, I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I don't think you want me to take up too much of your time, but I would like to say just a couple words about everybody. I don't have any certificates either, but I'm going to start with Lauren, who was not able to be here tonight, but I just wanted to say that Lauren liked to keep things light, but she was very serious about her role in the game when I sent her in. And so I was able, by the end of the season, to kind of put her in strategically where we needed a breath of fresh air, someone needed a break, and she really rose to that challenge. And I did give the girls opportunities to nominate each other for various awards and to make up their own awards, so I'll also be sharing some of those. Lauren they all were nominated for many things, but one of the things that she was particularly called out for was her improvement. So, Lauren, if you watch this at some point, that's what your teammates saw in you. Lily Hodge, she was the most dedicated to improving herself, I think, of anybody on the team. That's not fair. I'm sure everybody else was too, but Lily came to me frequently, constantly wanted to know what she can do better, how she can improve, what she could do at home, and so I really thank you for that dedication. And like I said, by the end of the season, same thing. She any time I was able to put her in, it was kind of energizing because she really, really wanted to dedicate as much as she could to helping her team. So thank you. And your teammates nominated you as the Hype on the Bench Award. So she was a presence whether she was on the court or not. She was felt. Alyssa was one of our setters, and setters, I know you just heard a little bit about how much is on their shoulders and how much pressure they deal with, and I just want to say Alyssa was never one to shy away from that. She welcomed it. She rose to the occasion, and she was one that leaned into that position of real responsibility. So thank you, Alyssa, for doing that. Our other setter was Bree Westcote, and she was put a lot of pressure on herself because, again, of the position of setter. And she was another one who would often come to me, talk about what she did right, what she did wrong, how she can improve. And I don't think that her natural personality is one of the take charge, game maker, let's go and take the ball and direct my teammates a little bit. So that was something that she really grew in over the course of the season, being able to be that setter that stepped in and took charge, and I really appreciate that. And she was nominated as the silliest on the court. So take that as you will. Avery was our offensive anchor on the front row. And that was very much borne out in the survey I sent around. She was our blocker. She was an excellent middle hitter. And she always, her presence was very much felt when she was on the front row, and she was able to lead the girls in that way. So she was the on-court encourager was the nomination. Ruth Hinson was a source of boundless energy. She, very encouraging, very can-do, always had a positive attitude, and always happy to do what I asked of her, even if it pushed her outside her comfort zone. I switched her around a little bit in her positions throughout the year, and she did it with a smile, enthusiasm, and even if there was a learning curve, she was happy to jump in wherever I needed her, so thank you. And she was nominated as the most energetic, the loudest, and the most likely to fall over and get injured. So there you go. Mackenzie was very much a leader, both on and off the court. She's another one that I kind of pushed outside her comfort zone some, and she always took to that challenge, rose to it, and I could always rely on her to keep the team spirit up. So thank you, Mackenzie. You were the Team Mom nominated, and also Helpful and Hard Worker awards. So, Diana was our libero and our captain, and our rock in many ways on the court, definitely on the back row, and again, the top team nominations, that was very clear. She was the kind of player who seemed to be everywhere all at once. She was reliable, trustworthy. If the ball was going to Diana, you didn't worry about it. And I thank you very much for being that trusted presence on the court. She was an indispensable leader, encouraging her teammates, trying to chime in with things that we could improve, things we could all the time, and so thank you for that. And she was the Friend Award and the Crazy Award. Twice, she got that one twice. And last but not least, we had Brooke Rogers. This was her first year playing, and she did an amazing job learning a sport from the ground up as a junior. And she developed quickly. She worked hard, and it became kind of a sneak attack on the front row. She was a hitter, and she was hitting from the outside, but with her left hand, which is not usually you'd put that on the right side, but just our rotation didn't work out that way. And people just couldn't defend against it. It was very impressive. So I really appreciate her dedication and her working her way up to that point. And she was nominated the best at doing something amazing and not even realizing it. So, all right. So now we are going to give out the actual awards. We are going to start with Christian character, and I'm not going to do the suspense thing. I'm going to tell you at the outset, this is going to Mackenzie Harrison. Our team verse this year was Romans 11:36. For of him and through him and to him are all things, to whom be glory forever. Amen. Mackenzie, as we mentioned, was very much a leader both on and off the court. She was a constant source of encouragement to the rest of the team. She was constantly reminding them of our team verse, that what we were doing was to the glory of God, and leading by example in that way. She had a great attitude no matter what was going on, and I could rely on her to help maintain the team spirit and a Christ-like attitude and a Christ-honoring spirit. And I really want to thank her for that, and so that's why the Christian Character Award is going to Mackenzie Harrison. And I'm also giving a Coach's Award, and this one is going to Avery Mangum. Avery had played volleyball before, but in a very, very specialized context. She was a middle hitter and a middle blocker, and that's what she really had developed her skills in before this season. And while she, as I mentioned, she was excellent in that role. In this context, we needed her to broaden her skill set. We needed her to be able to play all the way around the court, on defense, support in other ways, and she really rose to that challenge and worked hard this season to become an all-around player and also a leader. I asked a lot of her as a leader because I knew what she was capable of. And she, as I said, stepped up, and thank you for that. And I can't wait to see what things you do in the future. So, Coach's Award, Avery Mangum. All right. Thank you again for a great season, and I can't wait to see you guys all next year.
Okay, I just want to say thank you, Coach Anderson. I know it was her first year teaching JV, and just for having the patience with us, because on Mondays we would be really crazy. So I just thank you, Coach Anderson, for everything. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Coach Anderson. As she said, this was her first year being a head coach. She did a great job there. We actually, out of all of our coaches, I think we had like 5 coaches who were in a new role this year, kind of doing something they had never done before. And we had a bunch of them who are also not teachers, so they're coming from their outside jobs, and a lot is demanded of people to do that. It's really difficult to do and takes a lot of time. So thank you to all of our coaches again for doing such a great job. All right, next up we have varsity cross country and Mr. T. So if you guys could come up to the front.
So, just to summarize the season was rain for cross country. And because of the rain, we had a lot of cancellations of our meets. So every time we thought we were going to have a meet, a rainfall would come and we would end up canceling that meet. And so for a while, I thought maybe perhaps we were just going to be a running club that these guys just enjoyed running, right? You guys just loved running. And we would say, what's for practice today? And I would say, running. We're going to run again. So it was very, very interesting what happened I don't want to hold the umbrella the whole time. By the way, I'm Coach T. I'm the old Coach T, or the older. My wife is the younger, much better looking Coach T. All right, so this season was really interesting. I mean, we didn't really have a meet until September 25th. So for a while there, we just kind of thought we were just going to run. And we were just going to continue to run until like the season was over. And we say, good job, guys. You guys really are in shape. And not like the shape I am in, because, round is a shape, and that's fine. But one of the things I would say, our theme verse, and maybe perhaps that's one of the reasons why we struggled with having a meet, because it was James chapter 2, or James chapter 1 rather, verse 2 and 3. It says, or I'm going to just give you verse 3. It says, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. We had to have a lot of patience this year because we didn't know what was going to happen. And it says, but let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. And I tell you what, these kids had a lot of patience. When we did a lot of running, we oftentimes wondered, are we ever going to get in a meet? And boy, I was really at the end of the season when we ran our state meet, I was really encouraged by their performance. Almost every single one of them were able to get their personal best of their career, or at least season best. And you think about that, we've only had 3 regular meets, and then we had the state meet. And so if you imagine if we could have at least 4 more meets, what they could have done at the state meet. That would have been wonderful and such a blessing for that. And I tell you, and I just thank them for their perseverance, their patience, as we will, of being able to plug away and continue to do this. And some of them, first time they ever ran, couple of them, they weren't sure if they were going to make it through. And boy, I just so proud of them through all the different things they do. Thank you for the parents for the patience that you had of wondering, are you ever going to actually have a meet? A couple other people I want to thank is first my son Essa. For the first week and a half was, within the rain delays and everything else, he was able to come out and help me out just to get us started. And then he came to our conference meet and was very, very energetic. If you ever meet Essa, he's a very energetic guy. He ran up and down the course trying to encourage every single one of the runners, and I thank him for that. And then Josiah Hemrick came and helped a few times through the season. Took my practices many times on Tuesday when I had tutoring. I didn't know if I was going to, actually we didn't even know who was going to coach this year. It came down to the last little bit, and we were like, first of all, we didn't know if we were going to have a team. And then, Coach Brondike asked if I would be willing to do it. I ran track so many years ago, just a few years ago, back in 1990 something. And so I ran sprints, so my goal was to get the running done and over with quickly. So that was one of the new things that I had to do there, was just try to figure out, how do I get them ready for cross country, the endurance and everything else? And that's one of the things that I really enjoyed, Essa and Josiah, their help with that. So I do want to thank the team for that. So I'm going to go ahead and give the awards. Which awards? I probably should have figured this out before.
This is on me.
There's the one. Okay. All right. That's wrong. That person. Do you care about the order? No, I don't. No. So the first award I want to give is team leadership, and this person, it was a very good help to me. Though this person didn't necessarily want to, be outspoken and everything else, but many times I asked this person to run the stretches and do some of the other things, and they eventually enjoyed it, and they did well with this. And so my leadership award goes to Eva Reeves. This next award, I named it the Perseverance Award because, and I could have given this Perseverance Award to every single one of them because, of course, they had to persevere through all of the running and doing everything to just figure out, are we going to have a meet or not? But this person had shin splints, and I'm sure there's, again, others that had some of the other problems and health issues, but this person continued to push through. She was one of our best runners in the girls' side, and so I want to give this award to Kaylee Mangum. One of the most prized awards that I like to give is the Christian Character Award because, I mean, we are at a Christian school, and that's something that I desire to be able to see within all of our people and our runners, and I did. I saw that with every single one of them. Every single practice, we started off with prayer, and I went through the verse with them, and I enjoyed watching them grow in Christ. But this person really kind of took on. I could have given him the leadership award as well, but he was many times would pray for us, and there was one of the times he actually did one of the devotions at the very beginning, and I appreciated that with him. So the Christian Character Award goes to Andrew McLean. So, after all of a month or so of going through Just Run Club, we officially became a cross-country team, and I want to go ahead and thank the team and go ahead and give them another round of applause.
I want to thank Mr. T for taking over as our head coach and for taking the time out of his day when he could be doing other things, and for even having to run after us and find us sometimes. So thank you, Mr. T.
Yes, thank you also, Mr. T, for taking up this leadership role and taking time out of your busy schedule.
All right, thank you, Mr. T and cross country. And we'll go ahead and move on to our next team, which is varsity volleyball. And another Coach T. There we go, back to back. All right, so girls, you go ahead and come up, and we will do varsity volleyball.
You know, one reason why I had to follow my husband is if anybody wants him, he's got 7 years of bad luck for opening an umbrella. And he was just trying to butter me up, saying I'm too young. Just playing. No, I just want to say thank you for the privilege of coaching varsity. I've been coaching JV for about 3 or 4 years here at Friendship. And they had asked me to move up into the varsity realm in a year that we are very, very young, which is good, but it was a huge privilege, and I really appreciate the opportunity. So varsity volleyball, as Coach Anderson said, we actually kind of worked closely together with JV. We are a young team. We had 3 seniors, and then 1 junior, and 2 sophomore, and the rest were freshmen. And a lot of the freshmen even came up straight from middle school and went straight to varsity. So it was definitely a young team, kind of with the middle school, a year of growth. But our theme this year was unification, as we wanted to be unified as a team and build each other up. Difference in college volleyball is that in college, you already got a lot of the skills. You're trying to get the best skills you can. In any type of high school, junior high, you're actually a roller coaster ride. You have really good team one year, and then seniors leave us, and you start right back down. And that's kind of where we were this year in both middle school, JV, and varsity. But they did a fantastic job in doing that. Our theme verse was Romans 11:36, for of him and through him and to him are all things, to whom be glory forever. That was a theme verse that our players actually chose for us, as well as the theme. They wanted to be unified, and they understood that whether good, bad, or in between, the one person that gave them the talents is God, and that's who they wanted to glorify, and you could definitely see it. So I have some special designated awards. I don't have anything to pass out, but these were designated awards that were given by the players to the players. There's one that, I think there is a slide on this. Yep. If you could want to read, you could see on here all the different things that they nominated. Ariel, definitely most likely to get hurt, most likely to do a slide, most likely to break out in song while playing, most likely to make the whole team die laughing. Sarah was most likely to be late, most likely to start dancing, and loudest on the court. Definitely could hear her. Ellie was most likely to riz someone. Makayla, biggest smile, most likely to setter dump. Not sure what that is. Diana, busiest bee, most likely to do a split, most likely to snatch someone's toes off. Avery, best jokes, most energetic on the bench. AJ had the craziest serves, and I agree with that. Most likely to forget someone, and most likely to hit the ceiling with the volleyball every time. Claire, most likely to forget something, most likely to drop her glasses or throw them, most likely to dance to the serve line because she just remembered, oh yeah, it's my turn to serve. Bree, best cheerleader, silliest on the bench. Mary Douglas, best attitude. So each one of them, there is one thing that somebody did mention I didn't put up there, which again, I do not have little kids at home anymore, but I am busy with work. I do not teach here, and I was voted most likely to do work in between games and before a game, which is true. All right. But without further ado, I do want to go into our awards because I am not a long talker. But some of the awards, everybody has a different meaning to. One of the Spirit Awards is what I call the Falcons Award. I also have a Coach's Award, which I feel is different. And then the third award that I'm giving out is what we call a Versatility Award. This exemplifies all-around player, shows determination, dedication, currently had the highest stats in defense and offense, not in serves, but in on the court, she was one with the highest stats. And when I asked her to step up, she wasn't playing her best. And I says, you know, people are relying on you, you need to step up. And she came through without end and pushed herself when she realized that she wasn't getting there. So the Versatility Award this year goes to Claire Perry. My Coach's Award exemplifies team playing, steps up, takes any challenge that's given to her, thrown her way, good, bad, and in between, encourages not only the players, but is determined to better herself when times get rough. And anytime I needed something where people were just too tired to anything, I could count on her to just jump right in and help out where it's needed. The Coach's Award this year goes to Diana Brina. And then my favorite, the Falcons Award. So I grew up in a Christian school, except we were the Eagles, and we always called it the Eagles Award with our spirit because it is a Christian school, and it exemplifies Christian character. The theme of unification of who we were this year, she brought it out. Friendship Christian is a Christian school. We wanted to exemplify all of that, which were the Falcons. What can you ask for more? And so I call it a Falcons Award. This is a sportsmanship spirit. This person was someone that was highly looked up to put a smile on their face, even when things got tough, even when we lost. I was very proud of all these girls because even the times that we did lose, they didn't stay in the dumps. They didn't put themselves down. They lifted each other up and said, hey, this is a learning experience because, you know, God always sits there and teaches us through the bad and the ugly and helps us grow. And this person literally pushed that to everybody. So this year's Falcons Award goes to Ariel Harrison. And that is it for me. Ladies, the 3 people, come on over.
Before we go in, I just want to say thank you, Coach, and thank you, Coach Anderson, for an amazing last season. It's been a blessing having you guys as female figures, as like sports people, and just in general. And I'll miss you guys so much. And thank you all to our teammates. You guys will be missed.
Thank you for putting up with me. I love y'all. Thank you, guys. You have made such a big impact on me.
All right, thank you so much, varsity volleyball and Coach T. All right, we're going to get to our last team of the evening. Last but not least, let's have varsity boys soccer come up and Coach Sellers and Coach Diedick.
All right, I am Coach Sellers, and I get the honor of going last after you've been sitting there for this long. So I was told to keep it short. With that in mind, I just want to get some thank yous out there. First of all, I want to thank you guys, the team, for sticking with it this year. No grumbling, no complaining, nothing. Even when things didn't necessarily go the way we wanted it to, y'all stuck with it, and I'm proud of each and every one of you. I also want to thank my wife Hannah, my son Dakota, my son Jace, my daughter Sophia, which she's only 6 months old, and it is true that the girls get you wrapped right away. I love Dakota and Jace too, but she's got me wrapped. I want to thank my in-laws, my sister-in-law as well, for helping make it possible for me to be up here and to coach. I also want to thank Evan and Mr. McLean for letting me coach. And then my assistant coaches, Coach Diedick over here, thank you for filling in this year and helping in all aspects of the game. And then one that's not here and he probably isn't going to watch this, but he needs to be mentioned. He's helped in years past, and now he's been following his dream of becoming a physical therapist, Coach Austin D'Angelo. He helped us at the beginning of the year before he went off to school, and he got Patrick ready. He was here for what, Patrick, a month?
Like 2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks, yeah. He was here for 2.5 weeks. It was the worst 2.5 weeks of Patrick's season because the only goal that Coach D'Angelo had was I went to him and I said, get him ready. I said, get him ready. Get him warmed up, get him ready, and just take 100 shots on him every practice, and he got him ready. I also want to thank the parents. We have awesome parents here. In years past, this is my second time being the varsity head coach. I usually do goalie coaching and stuff, but a couple years ago I was varsity head coach, and this is my second year. And if you would have told me that, what was it, eight years ago when I coached soccer for the first time right out of high school, that I would still be doing it, I would have laughed because it was not a good experience. But I'm thankful that over the years, I learned under some great coaches here, Coach Nelson, Coach D'Angelo, and also under last year, Coach Sommer, and really helped mold me into the head coach for soccer that I am. But thank you, parents, for your support. Thank you, fans, for supporting us as well. In the win column, we didn't have as many wins as we've had in years past. But I can tell you this, these guys worked hard every single game, and they never gave up. And that is what I am proud of. We didn't score as many goals as years past, but we also never folded and we never got mercy ruled. A mercy rule in soccer is 9 goals if you get beat by 9 goals, and we've had arguably more talented teams in the past that when adversity hits, they fold. And we would lose by a mercy rule, or things would get bad, we'd have fighting amongst ourselves. But these guys never did that. And for that, I am extremely proud of them for never folding. Our theme verse for this year was 1 Corinthians 10:31. And it says, whether therefore you eat or drink or whatsoever you do, do all to the glory of God. And that's really what we wanted to push for these guys this year. We knew going into it was going to be a rebuilding year. We're going to have guys in different positions that haven't played in those positions before, guys that haven't had the role of being the guy or being more in the starting role this year than in years past. So we knew that we needed to focus on no matter what, no matter the situation, whatever we do it all to God's glory. And it's important in life as well, because that's one of the reasons why I enjoy sports, love sports so much, is that it's bigger than just the ball that you play with, whether it's soccer, volleyball, whether it's basketball, which we're starting now, and then the crazy people that like to run, cross country, shout out. All right, it's bigger than running. It's about discipline and learning how to handle adversity, because at the end of the day, parents, I know you know this, but in 10 years or so, these guys could have families of their own, and tough times come in life, and you learn how to handle tough situations, ups and downs, through the hard work that you put in on the field. And so I'm proud of these guys because they definitely put in the hard work this year, and we had a great year. Usually I send out a form and let them vote on the awards, have it more of a democratic way. But this year, I was gone last week for a family funeral in Illinois, so I didn't get to send that out. So Hudson, do you have your guitar? Oh, no, Hudson's not here, which that saves us because I had planned a 23-minute solo singing about every single one of the guys. So that saves y'all 23 minutes. I did know Hudson wasn't here, okay? When you got a joke laying up in your lap, you got to do it. No, these guys, they're great guys. And so for our awards, some of the highlights before I get to our awards, we had... we made the playoffs, which this year, over years past, it used to be everyone made the playoffs. Now, how it is in the varsity level, at least, is that not everyone makes the state tournament. It's the top 75%, I think, of the state conference or state whatever, however you describe it, that make the tournament. And so these guys worked hard and made the tournament, and we actually got to host a game thanks to our schedule of playing teams that their schools are a lot larger than ours. We got to host a game, and some of y'all, actually a lot of y'all, watched that entire game. It was the longest game of the year. It was exciting. Went to triple overtime. I don't know why they didn't finish it earlier. I think they just wanted to be dramatic and get to where it was golden goal, which it was a dramatic finish. But the guys played hard, and one thing I said at the beginning of the year was that I didn't want us to lose games. I'm fine if we lose games because teams just have more skill than we have. I don't want us to lose games because we're not in shape. And this actually came, I can't remember who said this, but they pointed it out that in that game it looked like the other team just wasn't ready. As the game went further along and as we got into that extra time, it looked like we were more conditioned. And so I'm proud of the guys for sticking with that, and for Josh putting one in the back of the net and getting us all running. And I told them right before we went out there, I said, all right, we're going to score quick, and then we're going to run to a corner, and we're going to celebrate. All right? So Josh scores quick. It was a great ball. I can't remember who it was. I watched it like 4 times, but I can't remember who it was. But they kicked the ball out. We sent it back in. We connected some passes. It goes to Josh. He beats his man. He shoots. He runs to the corner. I was running across the field, threw my hat, running across the field, which was a lot because I hadn't moved all game hardly. And we get to the corner, and lo and behold, what does Josh do? He decides to run to the other side. So, but we dogpiled him. He didn't want to get dogpiled, but that was a fun game. That was one of the highlights that I'll take for a long time. And also with that, with winning that game, we got to go to the Elite Eight of our state tournament, which for the guys, that's the farthest any guys team has ever been. So I'm very thankful for these guys' hard work when they could have easily gotten discouraged because of how many losses we had compared to wins. With the awards, we have 3 awards here, and I'm going to start with the Team Leader Award. And the Team Leader Award, this goes to the young man who was clearly vocal, if you know him. We have a lot of solid young men on this team, but this guy really wanted to step up this year and be more vocal and lead well, and I believe a lot of guys did that, but this guy definitely did that as well, and the Team Leader Award goes to Patrick Keller. All right, this next award is the Christian Character Award or Team Character Award. And this guy was, we've only had the joy of having him for 2 years, right? Jordy? This goes to Jordy. 2 years, right? Last year was your first year? Yeah, last year was your first year, right? Okay, yeah. We've only had the privilege of having him for 2 years, but if you know Jordy, he has a solid testimony. He loves the Lord. All these guys love the Lord, but he really was a solid captain for us this year. And the Christian Character Award goes to Jordy Perez. And then the last of these awards is the Coaches Award, and this goes to a young man who was, I expected a lot of him this year. He was by far our most experienced player. He was by far our best player on the field and has never necessarily been in the role that he was in this year. He plays a lot of soccer. He loves soccer. He's a godly young man, and he was pushed into a more of a scoring role this year, which on his club teams, that he would be the first to tell you that that's not necessarily his role. He's a facilitator, and he does that well too. But he led well. He led well, and I'm just super proud of him. And before I get emotional, the Coaches Award goes to Tate Hosford. All right, I think that's everything. All right.
So I want to thank both coaches because they both prioritize God rather than winning, which I think is a super valuable thing to finding coaches. So thank you for that, and I'm going to miss you guys.
All right, thank you so much. So that is our last team. Before we head out for the evening, we do have a couple other awards that we need to give out. At the end of our ceremonies, we always recognize some individual athletes from our season that have received individual recognition from our conference or from our state. So we do have a few athletes from the fall seasons that received all conference nominations and awards. So we are going to start with Coach T with volleyball, and then when she is done, Coach Sellers will come up with soccer. So if your name is called here by Coach T, then come on up and we have something to give you.
I'm actually glad I am able to take this opportunity. I apologize. I had a root canal and I blame the anesthetics. But I did forget to say thank you to Ms. Beamy for doing the books for us this year. And for Mr. Brondike for doing a lot of the flag corners on my away games, and a couple of other parents, especially me jumping in and asking you, hey, can you come quick? And one individual parent had to come, and she's like, I am not knowing what I'm doing, but okay. So I really appreciate that, along with those who brought snacks for the girls. I appreciate that. So with the all-conference, this is, let me jump into my notes, I apologize. Student athletes chosen for all-conference is something that the opposing teams' coaches get together and they choose from a lot of the different teams. And honorable mentions, we do two different teams. Team one gets all-conference, and then there's honorable mentions that didn't make the all-conference or the first team that were chosen, but they still wanted to be recognized for their hard work throughout the season. There's only so many that they can put in an all-conference, and then they have a second one for honorable mentions. We did not have anybody that made all-conference, but we did have one that was honorable mentions, and I'd like Claire Perry to come on up. You want us to stay here?
All right, awesome. Thank you. Congratulations, Claire. All right, Coach Sellers is going to come up now for soccer.
This is the order. Okay. All right, for soccer, we had two guys receive honorable mention for this year's all-conference team. The first guy was a young man who was all over the pitch for us this year. He loves the game of soccer. He started out in the midfield, and then I had one of those coach epiphanies and said, let's try something. I mean, you can't get worse than losing and not scoring, so we got to try something. And so I was like, hey, let's see if we can switch this guy into our back line and move some pieces around just to get a different vibe going. And although he is a Manchester City fan and I am a Manchester United fan, I'm super excited that Jerry Liu made all-conference honorable mention. This second young man has already received an award tonight, and I fought really hard for him to make it onto the all-conference team, but the coaches get greedy, and if some other coaches were greedier than I was, and they got the votes. But I think he honestly deserves to be on the all-conference team. I've already mentioned him earlier tonight, but all-conference honorable mention, Mr. Tate Hosford. And then our one young man that made the all-conference team tonight, he was our goalkeeper. He kept us in a lot of games. He kept us in all of our games. He works super hard, and that goes to Patrick Keller.
All right, thank you so much. You guys can have a seat. Okay, and congratulations to all of our all-conference athletes. So I believe out of all of our conference, which is 6 different teams, only the top 18 players for soccer get selected for all-conference, and only the top 11 volleyball players for their sport. So it is quite an accomplishment to receive the recognition there. Now we do have one more award that we have to recognize tonight. We don't always get to do this, but we get to tonight, so we're very excited about that. Just a few days ago, there was another vote for all-state individual awards. So if you made your all-conference team, your name is placed into another vote, because you know it's sports and we just have to continue voting on stuff. So another vote for those people who are able to make all-state. If you make all-state, then you make all-universe. No, I'm just kidding. But it just continues to go, right? But anyway, all-state is a great accomplishment, and if you have to make your all-conference team to be eligible, and then you get voted, and it's only the top 18 players for soccer in the state get this award, and the top 12 volleyball players for the state get this award. So since we joined the NCISAA in 2017, we have only had one athlete who has ever made an all-state team, so it is quite an accomplishment. That was back in 2018 or 19, I believe. I can't remember which year. But it has been quite a while. The NCISA is very stiff competition. There's a lot of great athletes, and it's just quite an accomplishment to reach that award. So we do have one athlete who we found out today received this award. So we do not have their official award for this, but we do have a certificate. So Coach Sellers is going to come up and present that award.
All right, and this All-State Award, I'm not going to keep you long, but this one I had to pace out what I said about this individual because I knew that I had to talk about him 3 times, although he probably enjoys hearing me talk about him. This is something special, I know, for him. It's also something special for me as well, because 3 years ago, this was, or actually 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago. This was the very first goalkeeper practice I had with him on varsity. This was our end goal, was to make sure that by the end of his high school career, he put in the work and the effort and could get this accomplishment. And he has, and he did, and we found out today that Patrick Keller was named to the All-State team.
All right, thank you so much. Great way to end the evening this evening. Again, thanks everyone for coming and for being part of our awards ceremony this evening. Appreciate you all being here as we celebrate our teams and recognize our athletes and our coaches for their great seasons. So before we leave, if you are an athlete over here, if it was your first year ever being on a varsity team, it has to be varsity, not JV or middle school, but your first year ever being on a varsity team. I have your varsity letter over here in the front. So if you could come see me as soon as we dismiss, and I will make sure you get your varsity letter. All right. I think that is everything. All right. Don't forget that as soon as we dismiss here, we've got food and drinks out there for you. So let's go ahead and we will pray, and then we will be dismissed. God, we thank you again for your many blessings to us, for just how you love us, and we thank you for the gift of sports, that we can use our talents to to display your glory and how we can use it also as a mission field to show the love of Christ to those who are around us. And I thank you that we can be here this evening and be at a school that not only allows us to participate in athletics, but also has the emphasis and the proper view of sports and how it should be used. And we can use our competition and our gifts and our abilities and our relationships that we develop to draw us closer to you. And we thank you for all the people that are represented here this evening, parents, grandparents, friends, families, athletes, coaches, teachers. We just thank you for each one of them and the role they play in our athletes' lives. And we pray that you would continue to mold and grow our student athletes into the image of yourself. And we thank you for your many blessings to us. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, you are dismissed.